Welcome to Training Minutes. In this segment, we're going to cover vent enter search operations in residential dwellings. It's one of the most dangerous operations on the fire ground. A few things to consider: the location of the fire, how it can get to you, the wind conditions. The big key you have to ask yourself is the fire, if it's not in the room that you're going into, can it get into the room? That will be based on if the door is open. The race is really, can I get to the door and close it before the fire gets there? If the answer is no, then I might only be doing a tool sweep inside that room. If I try and make it to that door and the fire beats me there, I might get myself trapped inside that room.
Remember, that window that you break is also your exit out of the building. So when we break the window, we want to clear the entire window, the sash, everything, so that it's a clean entrance in and a clean exit out.
Another point is, remember, you are creating a vent point. That vent point, if the fire has nowhere else to go, that's where it's coming. So this cannot be a lollygag type operation. This is a quick in, create a barrier for yourself, search it, and a quick out.
Remember, when we VES, we're trying to VES in a bedroom. We want to be able to VES in an area that we can create a barrier to give ourselves protection while we're making that search. Even if you find the victim, continue to the door to close the door. That's going to give you more time to remove the victim, and it's also going to ensure that you search the complete room. We've seen it time and time again where firefighters enter, they go to make their search, they're pushed out because they don't close that door, and they fail to search the other half of the room. You just saw the firefighter clear the window. Remember, it's very important. We want to make that into a door.
Once the firefighter cleared the window, it's extremely important to probe before you sound the floor. Victims that can't find their way out via the interior stairs, which are the safest, most effective path to least resistance out of the structure, will often be found beneath windows. If the first thing you do is sound the floor, you're going to turn a rescue into a recovery. At an incident, there was a 6-year-old victim underneath the window and was severely injured by a firefighter blasting down on the floor. So what we want you to do is probe first gently. Once there's no one there, now you sound the floor to ensure that it's going to hold you.
Okay, the firefighter is going to come in the window, stay nice and low. Remember, this is going to be a hazardous condition. Heat, smoke, fire, everything's going to want to come through that doorway. As the firefighter comes in, the second firefighter is going to come up the ladder to serve as a reference point, so that if anything goes wrong or that firefighter can't close the door, they're going to be able to look, see the light on the firefighter, and be able to get back out the same window. As the firefighter gets to the door, this is where he's going to check for those conditions. If things are tenable, he might take a quick look in the hallway, especially if he has a camera. Remember, you don't want to pass that interior stair, but you might have a victim right there in an exit path, so you may make that quick grab.
It's extremely important, though, at some point, that door has to be closed, because remember, you've created a vent point, the fire's coming your way if it has nowhere else to go. That door will buy you time and save your life and allow you to make the search of this room here.
And this operation is not something that occurs independently. Command and the hose line needs to know where you're going to VES.
All right, firefighters have been left up in an untenable area when the attack team and the incident commander didn't know that they were up there because they didn't notify anyone. So you have to notify the attack team. You have to notify dispatch. You have to notify the incident commander that you are in fact going up above the fire. Extremely dangerous position to be in.
Once the door is shut, note you already vented the window. You're going to automatically reduce the carbon monoxide, the hydrogen cyanide. You're going to increase visibility right off the bat. So you're really making it conducive to conduct a really good search. And one firefighter should have no problem searching a small bedroom and using the other firefighter on the window as a reference point to get out.
We just covered vent enter search operations in residential dwellings. A few points we want to make before we close. First is that in a residential dwelling, victims are not always going to be alone. So you want to make sure that you probe around if you do find a victim. Think about your own home. Would parents leave the house without their children? Oftentimes we find a larger victim first, and in our haste to get them out, we forget about the kid that is maybe laying right next to them, especially if it's an infant. So if you find a victim, especially a larger victim, in a place that you know has children inside, you want to sweep around that area, ensure that there's no one else there before you remove the victim.
On normal search tactics, remember, we don't want to be moving furniture around the room. That helps give us a reference point to how the room's set up, in case if we do get lost in some operation, but also it prevents us from covering over a victim. There's one more thing that's critical here, and Patrick Brown wrote a great article for the Globe Supplement with this, is if a firefighter has to bail from a superheated environment and you see steam, or what the gear is what we call off-gassing, there's a tendency on the fire ground to put a hose line on that firefighter. Remember, if we put a hose line on the firefighter, it compresses the gear, it also saturates the gear with moisture, and the firefighter is going to get burned. So what we want to do is remove the firefighter from that environment and take their gear off. Just remember, don't put a hose line on a firefighter.
Good point, Frank. In closing, remember, gear is what is going to get you safe. Wear it all the time, wear it properly, and be safe on the fire ground. This has been Training Minutes.
Thanks to Globe, our sponsor. Be safe.